If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? You'll fade the words I will choke.
Happy Top 5 Tuesday to everyone in the sports universe. It is August the 2nd, 2022. This is the AM Drive on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, and we hope you're having a great morning so far. For Aaron Crouch, I am Michael Carvella saying, Aaron, how you doing, sir? You excited for the show?
I am excited for the show. Sorry, I had a little spasm in the back right there.
Getting old.
I am excited. You never lied with that statement right there. But yeah, I am excited for the show. One of my probably favorite top fives in recent memory now that we're going to be doing today. Of course, it's Top 5 Tuesday. Of course, we'll have our MLB top 5. I don't know how much change there'll be to that from last week for each of us. But we've been talking with Tony Johnson and with ourselves and with anyone who will listen about the LIV Golf impact so far on the golf world, for better, for worse, for anything. And we're finally going to get someone on the show here who the host of the 54 Live podcast, 54 Live or Live, I don't know how he says it. We're going to have to clear that up with him. But I really want to get somebody whose feet were on the ground and at an event. And I'm so excited that he's going to be a part of the show here very soon. And it's just an exciting, I feel a little buzz on this show right now.
Woohoo! I do too, Aaron. And that, not like you said, the top 5 is incredible. MLB trade deadline makes you want to talk about baseball because of the electrifying players that it involves. And then you got our guest, who is Digsies, who's just going to be, I'm sure, incredible. As our guests usually are, not as most of them, all of them have been pretty incredible. So we'll see just another chapter in the AM Drive.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's gonna be fun if you are interested in LIV, interested in hate LIV, love LIV, want to get kind of some information about it. I think this is going to be a great episode or a great show to watch today. So stick and stay for sure.
All right, support the awesome show today. Shop our merchandise at amdrive.online or find it at mikeandaarondrive.com and click the Our Shop tab. But when you go there, you'll find great things like these awesome black hoodies, mugs, black edition mugs, tumblers. I'm telling you guys, it is all there. It's all cheap, but it's good quality as well. AM Drive the online, and you can be rocking those mugs like Aaron.
And that hoodie as well.
That hoodie is fire.
Fire, fire, fire.
I like this one better than the maroon hoodie. I like the difference in the maroon, but this one just feels better, and I can't explain it until you have the maroon, obviously.
I told you might not like the maroon. I think the Carolina blue would have looked good on you.
I love Carolina blue. I'm a Duke fan, but you get it. Let's get into this whole show here. Major League Baseball trade deadline is upon us. It seems so long ago that this season was almost in question, and yet here we are with guys like Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani, even Wilson Contreras being shopped around. But first, let's get to this. The Yankees and the Astros made some pretty big deals. The Padres also got a good deal as well because they got Josh Hader. Remember that racist guy from Twitter? Well, he's a pretty good closer nowadays. Also,
he was back then too.
Right. Trey Mancini to the Astros. And I believe the Yankees added 2 guys. I forgot who it was, though. But hey, the contenders get richer, and we're just looking. Baseball's getting hot right now.
Yeah, as far as the Yankees goes, they added the names are escaping me right now, but they added the number 2 starter from Oakland, who's actually looked relatively decent this year, and the setup guy for
Montez
Chicago.
and Trevino.
Yeah, Montez and Trevino from the Athletics. And then they ended up adding a guy, Scott Efris, I think, from the Cubs.
Wow.
And, of course, you have the Benintendi trade as well. So it seems like the Yankees are just kind of tying up some loose ends here. We already know they were a World Series favorite, if not, definitely a contender to be there this October. But yeah, I mean, the Josh Hader trade really shocked everybody, and I saw on Twitter that they had to basically issue an explanation as to why they made this trade. And if you're having to explain why you traded your star closer, maybe it wasn't the best deal. But it seemed like they got 3 MLB ready players, including 2 starting pitchers. So I don't hate this. It seemed like Devin Williams was ready to take that closer role, and Josh Hader was ready to get paid. And San Diego can definitely use an arm. I'm curious if this will come back to bite Milwaukee in the playoffs should San Diego be there. Milwaukee looks like they're on that course to be there. They are leading the Central, but
Right.
I am a little curious at the Josh Hader trade. And was there something that just wasn't clicking with the organization? Everything seemed to be okay. They got through the racist past tweets.
Huh.
They got through that saga. Everything seemed unharmed. But San Diego's getting a real quality pitcher out here, and that's probably what they're going to need to shut the door and get into the playoffs. They're not winning the West. We know that. No one's winning the West. It's not named the Dodgers. They're like 12 or 13 games ahead
12, yeah.
of the rest of the West here. But yeah, I mean, with the Yankees and acquiring those arms and Benintendi and San Diego getting a nice pitcher, we're starting to see the haves and have-nots. And not to throw
Sorry.
this in there, but Chaim Bloom sold off a little bit, but acquired Tommy Pham, which is such a weird acquisition for the Red Sox, who seem to be sellers by trading off Christian Vasquez to the Astros. Again, the Astros, another team who got better. We'll talk about that in just a second here. But the Red Sox can't seem to figure out what they want to be, buyers or sellers. So today's going to be a big day for them. But you mentioned Trey Mancini, who should have won the ESPY for Comeback Player of the Year.
Bingo.
And him going to a contender with that bat is going to just be nothing but positive for the Astros. So as much as we think that the Yankees definitely just tied up some loose ends, not necessarily got miles better, the Astros might have gotten significantly better yesterday with acquiring Trey Mancini and Christian Vasquez.
I guarantee you that right now, because I believe the Padres are going to match up with the Dodgers well. I mean, when push comes to shove, if there's an Astros to the Dodgers, it's the Padres. And I feel
in terms of what? What do you mean, like competitive?
Like the Yankees have the Astros on their tails in terms of teams that can beat them. I feel the Dodgers should have to worry about a division rival who did just acquire Josh Hader from a team that was already contending itself. I believe the Padres are. I'm for a betting aspect. Padres and Astros might be a surprise World Series matchup that we never saw coming, but probably should have seen coming.
So you believe in the NL that the only team that can really challenge the Dodgers this year is the Padres? So you're out on the Mets, the Braves, the Cardinals, the Brewers. You're out on those teams.
Mets are just, and the Mets have moved up in my top 5. Low-key spoiler there. But the Mets are just like, they're the Mets still, and they will always be the Mets. And I know that I'm not a big proponent of once, always, is always now. I'm not a big proponent of that, but yes, if it's your division rival, that team knows you better than the other teams. They know how to beat you.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree that in a 7-game series, San Diego could steal a series from the Dodgers. I don't disagree with that. I'm 100% on board. It's funny to me, though, because maybe not even a month ago when I came back, you were, rah-rah Mets. So I'm just curious what changed. I mean, they're getting DeGrom back. They're still, only really 4 games back of the Dodgers here. They have a really good split record. I'm just curious.
No, I think Mets are contenders, but I would be scared to death if I'm the Dodgers if the Padres have to come knocking on my door. I'd be scared.
That's fair.
12-game lead or 2-game lead.
As much as I loved the Brewers all year, I'm curious about this trade. I'm curious if something's going to come out later on in this season that either looks bad for the Brewers, Hader, or both. Because, I mean, a National League a division leading team doesn't just trade their closer out of the blue. I understand they got a pretty good haul, but they didn't really get a star back. I mean, Dinelson Lamet is probably the best piece, and he's a middling starter. I mean, if they need starting pitching help, that's fine. Like I said, there had to be something here with Devin Williams, who, if you haven't watched Devin Williams play baseball or pitch, he is lights out. He hasn't given up a run in like 3 months. But I mean, that can be handled in the offseason.
But here's the thing, though, Aaron. If you can get a haul knowing that Josh Hader wants to get paid, what if they don't want to pay Josh Hader? What if
I don't think they do.
But that's what I'm saying. So they see a Devin Williams guy, they get a haul. Maybe the Padres are wanting to win now. Obviously, they could care less what happens to Hader in the offseason. Maybe the Brewers are setting themselves up financially to get even better next year by not paying this dude.
Well, I don't think they were going to pay him anyways, but I thought they'd finish out the season with the combo of Williams and Hader. I mean, San Diego, maybe not, but San Diego is also sending their closer back, Taylor Rogers. So I'm assuming he goes into a setup role or he goes into, a middle reliever role. So it's just a curious. I mean, they did definitely get a good haul back. I'm probably higher on Dinelson Lamet than some others. I think he's a decent right-hander.
Never heard of him.
But I mean, the other thing is that like Hader's been okay this year. He was an all-star. He definitely has the strikeout pitch working for him, but he also did have a 4.24 ERA this year. So, I mean, maybe they knew something. Maybe they knew something we didn't, and like you said, they don't want to pay him the $20 million that he probably is going to try. And I mean, he's making $11 million this year. His final year of his arbitration deal takes him to $16 million. Then after next year, he's a free agent. So, I mean, I'm not going to say they don't know what they're doing. It's just a little bit of a shocker. That's all I'll say with it.
I love how you bring up the contract stuff to fill time. Let's go to the next trade deadline part of this. I'm so mean to him. Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, Wilson Contreras. Do any of these guys get moved? Do all of them get moved? I know after what Juan Soto said yesterday, he hits a home run in what could be his finale. And then he says something like, I'm just waiting. You're going to be waiting a long time, Juan Soto.
Yeah, I think it's highly unlikely he goes. It would have to be a blockbuster of epic proportions. And I know San Diego's been linked. He's been linked to San Diego. And maybe San Diego uses Josh Hader as a piece. Maybe he doesn't even stay in San Diego if they're going to get a generational talent like Juan Soto. I mean, good Lord, if he goes to the freaking Dodgers, like, let's just pack up our things now and hand everybody else parting gifts. Like, you put Juan Soto on this roster, like, it's done. It's absolutely done. Like, I mean, you have to play the games and never, anything can happen. But Shohei's going nowhere. But Wilson Contreras, I think he's on the move.
And was the one who cried during the game at one time with the Mets?
No, that was Wilmer Flores, I believe.
Oh, same name, whatever.
But I think Wilson Contreras, a team would be lucky to get him right now, and I think a couple teams like the Mets, maybe even the Rays. I would say the Astros, but they picked up Christian Vasquez. So maybe the Mariners. Those are a couple teams I think that Wilson Contreras looks like he might end up on. But he's the one of these three that I think is definitely getting moved. I think the one that's 50-50 is probably Juan Soto, and I think Shohei is going nowhere.
Hey, when we come back, our guest Dixie's is waiting, host of the 54 Live podcast. You guys do not want to miss the conversation next. Be enlightened. Be ready. It's AM Drive. We'll be right back. The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the Vice Golf guy?
Yeah, you want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask. It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Hello and welcome back to the AM Drive. I'm Mike, he is Aaron, and we're joined by Dixie's. But first, we want to let you guys know that if you want the best in sports merchandise, apparel, jerseys, memorabilia, you name it, go to mikeandaarondrive.com, click the Fanatics logo. The entire Fanatics store is open to your disposal. So go there, get your stuff, and they have golf stuff too, I believe. And where's the LIV shop is what I'm wondering, but we'll figure that out later. What's up, Dixies? Welcome to the show, host of the 54 Live podcast.
How's it going, guys?
Doing good. How about you?
Sir?
I'm doing great. Wonderful weekend in New Jersey at Trump National Bedminster. We were on site on Sunday to watch the action, and it was a great weekend, I got to say. Had a lot of fun.
This is exciting to hear because you're like part of history right now. No matter what happens to this league, if it stays, if it goes, you're a part of history, and that's pretty cool if I do say so myself. So
I feel like 54 Live podcast is at the forefront of the podcast world for Live Golf. Honestly, if you type in Live Golf in Apple, Spotify, what have you, we're the first podcast that shows up. There's probably only 2 or 3 other ones. One hasn't even recorded since June. So I like to feel like we're at the forefront. We want to spread the good, positive news for Live Golf.
And I like that aspect of it. I know we're going to get into the kind of controversial stuff, but I want to ask you, because, like, first off, your bio says in part covering LIV and their drive to change the game of golf. So I'm wondering, in what ways have you seen, and what ways did you see at their course that you think has changed the game in a positive way, or that they could use for building blocks for the future?
Yeah, well, I feel like the way they're going to change the game of golf, it's a long-term approach. So far on the short term, just being at the event, I've been to a ton of PGA Tour events over my life. I've been to Ryder Cups, U.S. Open, PGA Championships, FedEx Cup playoff events. I've been to them all, except for the Masters. I every single year.
Good luck.
I get that email saying we regret to inform you that you haven't been selected. So Augusta National, one year, I just want to go once. I'll go to a practice round. I'll take that. But in regards to Live, just being at the course, it was very relaxed. The golfers were interacting with the fans. They were happy to see us. You know, when you go to these events, they're just head down, focused. Let me get in, play my 4 or 5 hour round, and get out. With Live, they want to interact with the fans. Now, in regards to long-term changing the game of golf, they want to bring golf on a global scale. Now, the PGA Tour, a good majority of their tournaments, I would say 75-80% is in the United States. With Live, they want to go different places. They want to go to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. They want to go to Bangkok. Next year, Greg Norman, the CEO of Live Golf, is from Australia. He wants to go to Australia. Australia has some of the nicest golf courses in the world. That's an untapped market. They have the Australian Open. They have a bunch of events in December, but a lot of the PGA Tour pros and top golfers in the world aren't traveling down there around the holidays. So Live Golf wants to tap into that market. And also, the last thing I want to say is them broadcasting the event on YouTube is great because people in third world countries overseas, they don't have NBC, they don't have CBS. They might, but it's hard to get that. With YouTube, you're able to go on. Anybody with a phone, computer can go on YouTube and watch the event.
Go ahead, Aaron.
I dig that for sure, and just based on what I saw, from Trump Bedminster, it seemed like the crowd was engaged. It seemed like you said, the players, the pro-am, the celebrities, and even former President Trump himself, like the interaction with the fans and the spectators. I mean, you were there, like the vibe seemed a little more relaxed, other than some pro-ams that I've even been to in PGA Tour. So I just kind of want you to walk us through just the experience you had and maybe some of the differences, because it sounds like you've been to a ton of PGA Tour events. Some of the differences that you saw, other than just the fan engagement aspect of it, with this event compared to some PGA Tour events.
Yeah, well, the main difference is the shotgun start. Okay, with
Right.
regular
Okay.
PGA Tour events, everybody tees off at 1. Sometimes they do split tees. They tee off at 10. So the big difference is shotgun start. Everybody teed off at 1 o'clock. They had a countdown clock. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3, what have you. So all the golfers are huddled together in carts in the front of the clubhouse, talking BS, and you see a sense of camaraderie. The golfers, there's only 48 of them with their caddies. They're talking to each other, they're BSing, they're laughing, and then the horn blows and they all go out to their hole. So pretty much with this, anywhere you sit, there's golfers coming through. Okay, if you go to a regular PGA Tour event, you get there when the first tee shot hits. You need to be on the first or the 10th tee to see people and then wait for people to come through. With this, any hole you're on, people come through. So I would say that's the biggest change with the shotgun start, and I like it. And also, it not only is it good for the people that are on the grounds, it's good for the viewers because you sit down, watch golf. It's a 4 or 5 hour event. It's like watching a football game, a basketball game, a baseball game. Whereas regular golf events, it's going from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And mostly everybody's tuning in the afternoon to see the leaders play. With this, everybody's on the course at the same time. You're able to see everybody. And the coverage has been amazing because they're showing golf shots. It's golf shot, golf shot, golf shot. The coverage for the other, PGA Tour, NBC, CBS, it's golf shot, commercial, golf shot, ad. Live Golf is all about the golf.
Is that something we would see? I know that obviously the funding, for Live is a lot different, but do you think commercials are something that we could see if popularity rose with Live Golf?
Yeah, I think obviously if someone's going to offer them X amount of money to put a commercial on the coverage, they're going to take it. But I don't think it's going to be as crazy as it is, with the PGA Tour. With the PGA Tour, like you see 2-3 shots, you get a commercial, 2-3 shots, you get a course overview. It's just, and I'm not the only one. Just because I'm a Live fan doesn't mean I'm not a PGA Tour fan. I'm still going to watch.
No, of course.
PGA Tour. I'm not one that's going to be like, oh, Live, no PGA Tour, like. It's golf. More golf for the golf fans is better for everybody. You don't have to take sides here.
That's true, and that's a good point that I kind of want to drive home with a lot of the people who are just PGA Tour purists. And one of our regular guests on the show is a big PGA guy, and he hasn't downplayed the Live Golf. He says it's not something I'm going to support. And so I want to ask you this, and you guys talk about this on your show. What are your thoughts on the way that the PGA Tour seems to be reacting to Live Golf in terms of, obviously, Golf Digest seems to have a bug up their ass about the Live Golf. But what are your thoughts on the way that the PGA Tour and its players seem to be reacting publicly to Live Golf?
I think it's harsh. The players have their opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. I don't hate the players for making those comments, but I can hate on the PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan and the DP World Tour Commissioner Pelly because the sanctions they have, like kicking them off the PGA Tour, Henrik Stenson, he just won this week at Bedminster. He hasn't won in 5 years. He signed on, and because he signed on to Live Golf, the European Tour, well, it's called the DP World Tour now, let's be correct. The DP World Tour stripped him of the Ryder Cup captaincy for Rome in 2023. So he met a big backlash going into this tournament. The media was hating on him, and he went out there, he put the critics at bay, he won. So I feel like the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour have been very harsh with the sanctions. The main thing right now with Live Golf is they need to get official World Golf ranking points, because that's how you get into the majors. That's the big all end all with golf. Everybody wants to win a major, and there's a committee, an 8-man committee, and Jay Monahan's the PGA Tour commissioner's on that committee. The DP World Tour commissioner's on that committee. So I feel like that's a conflict of interest, and they're not going to want to give the world ranking points to Live Golf because they feel like they abandoned the PGA Tour. But I'm telling you now, 2-3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, PGA Tour is going to realize what went wrong, and they're going to have a working relationship. I guarantee you down the road, they're going to have a working relationship, and they're going to have a working relationship in order for them, to be able to bring those big stars back.
I want to first commend your positivity on this whole subject, because it is very easy, but beside the fact that it's a Saudi thing, like just the fact that people are just so bent, and like Aaron said, the media is just trying to drive home it's so negative, the negativity about it. I appreciate you coming on the show and being that voice of reason, being that voice of positivity and hope for golf, because like you said, you hope it changes golf. I'm sure like your end game is they merge and we can this bull crap. But how tough is it keeping I know you might be a positive guy naturally, but how tough is it hearing the crap and like just having to just not engage with people? I know it's got to be tough.
Very tough. Anytime I make a post on Twitter at 54 Live Pod, my Twitter handle, if I make a post, I have more negative comments, more negative stuff than positive. So I just ignore it. I don't respond back, because you know what? You can go back and forth with these people. It's never going to end. They're going to continue to come at you. There's people that don't like Live Golf. That's fine. You don't have to watch it, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Just because your opinion isn't the same as somebody else's doesn't mean it's wrong. That's the problem with the world today. Everybody thinks that their opinion is the only opinion that matters. You want to be a PGA Tour fanboy, you don't want to watch Live, that's fine. Enjoy the PGA Tour. Don't be hating on people that want to watch both, or the people that are big Live Golf fans.
I love that response.
So help us, because we're obviously, everybody is new to Live Golf. And for someone who is interested in getting involved in watching it, being a part of it, just enjoying it, the team aspect really hasn't been successful outside of the Ryder Cup, President's Cup thing. But you have I believe the tournament in New Orleans, correct me if I'm wrong, the Zurich Classic, the team event, just not super popular. So walk me through how this works, this team event, because I know Henrik Stenson won the tournament, but then his team wins the tournament. So how does this all work week to week with the team style events? So just kind of walk me through a tournament in Live Golf.
Of course, yeah. Well, Henrik Stenson won the tournament. His team came in second. The team that won was the 4 aces, the team of Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Taylor Gooch, and Pat Perez. They won back-to-back weeks.
Pretty good team.
Wow.
Yeah. So the way it works is the first 2 days, round 1 and round 2, the top 2 golfers, their scores count. Okay, so I believe round 1, it was Dustin Johnson and Patrick Reed scores counted for 4 aces. Day 2, the top 2. On day 3, it goes to top 3. So not all the players' scores are counting for that team score that week. So you have the individuals, they play, whatever they score for themselves, the individual will count for the team, as long as it's better than the other 2. If it's the top 2 out of the 4.
So when you say the top 2, do you mean the top 2 in rankings or the top 2 scores for that day? Like if Pat Perez is your number 4 guy theoretically, but he goes out and fires 8 under, his score counts, or because he's not a top 2 guy? Okay, so it's the top 2 scores.
Top 2 scores that day. So every day it changes. So let's say Pat Perez, on Friday and Saturday, he shot 8 over, but on Sunday he finds something. He goes out and fires a 5 under, and Taylor Gooch fires 2 under. They'll take Pat Perez's score. So it's the top 2 players from the 4-man team on Friday and Saturday, and on Sunday it's the top 3 players from the 4-man team.
Gotcha. I keep forgetting it is a 54-hole competition. Yes. That's another big one as well.
People don't realize that's what the Live is for. LIV, 54 in Roman numerals.
Okay, I've wondered where the Roman numerals came from, because I was like 48 golfers, but 54 holes. That you just clarified it for me. There we go.
Yes.
That makes the name of the tour so much more awesome. I gotta say, I wasn't super in love with it, but making that the name, that is really awesome. That's actually something I learned today. And as we wrap up here with our guest Digsies of the 54 Live podcast, again, first U.S. based live golf show. The thing I want to say is I kind of want to see. You've talked about a lot of different things here during this segment, and we obviously appreciate it all. But I want to know what your podcast, like what you personally aim to achieve with this podcast, not only promoting the game, but personally as well.
Personally, I'm not gonna lie. I want to have the biggest live golf podcast there is. That's my end game.
Very cool.
And I feel like we're at the forefront, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make that happen. I've already reached out to a ton of live golfers. I even reached out to Greg Norman. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. I'm brand new. I only started, a month and a half ago. But You know what? What's the worst thing they could say? No, right? So I reached out to these guys. Hopefully one day I get one of them. I reached out when I went to Bedminster. I tried to get a media pass. They turned me down, but hopefully one day I will. And so that's what I'm looking for on a personal side. And, professionally, I just want to bring positive live golf news. Anything that happens in regards to live golf, I want to analyze the tournament. I want to analyze the shots, and I just want to be a one-stop shop for all live golf fans to go listen to the podcast, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, follow the Twitter. We'll give you the breaking news. And I just want to help grow the game with live.
That's really cool.
Incredible. I have one more question. That's a curveball as we send you on your way. Once again, thank you so much. But in honor of what we're going to do next segment, because it's Top 5 Tuesday here for us on the AM Drive, I want your number one most electrifying college football player of all time.
Of all time?
Yeah.
Ooh. Like me personally, that I watched?
Yeah.
I would say Reggie Bush, 1A, Vince Young, 1B. That Rose Bowl game between Texas and USC, electric.
100%. I think you nailed it right on the head. Again, Digsies, host of the 54 Live podcast. This was an awesome and eye-opening experience for us, especially guys that are looking to get into the live golf world. And I checked out, a few holes of the tournament this weekend, and I enjoyed the product. So we obviously wish you nothing but the best. Would love to have you on again sometime. And we are looking forward to all the major strides that Live Golf and the 54 Live podcast are doing.
Thank you.
And hopefully that's together.
Yes. And anybody that wants to tune in, the next tournament is in Boston, Labor Day weekend, September 2nd to September 4th. You can watch all the action on YouTube. And again, right there, 54 Live Pod. Follow me on Twitter. Listen to the podcast. And thank you guys. Great segment. And I hope to come on. Anytime you guys want to talk golf, live golf, I'm ready for you.
Your positivity would be a joy to have again. Let me tell you. That was awesome. Thank you,
guys.
All right, guys. When we come back, once again, it's Top 5 Tuesday, the most electrifying college football players ever. How similar are our lists going to be? I don't know. Mike's a little bit younger than me, but we'll have to find out here on the other side of the break. Stick and stay. It's the AM Drive here on our own social media networks.
The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the Vice Golf guy?
Yeah. You want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask. It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
All right, and welcome back here to the final segment of the AM Drive on this Top 5 Tuesday. And we got to give a shout out to Digsies again of the 54 Live podcast. The whole 54 LIV thing just blew my mind.
Come on.
Didn't even put it together. I mean, it makes me like this league even more. I know you've been an on the fence guy, but what do you take away from this? How are you leaning now a little more one way or the other with? And it's okay if you're still leaning PGA. Like, I still love the PGA. I will still watch the PGA. We talk PGA every week with our boy Tony Johnson. But how are you feeling after this? I'm a little more intrigued by Live Golf week by week.
If I had to put a number percentage-wise on it, I was like 80-20 before in favor of PGA Tour. I'm now, after that guest segment with Digsies, who was just, again, incredible and positive, when he said the merger coming together, that he hopes is the end goal.
Well, he didn't say merger necessarily. He said the leagues would work together.
Well, no, and that's fine to me. I would be on board with that. I'm now 45% in favor of Live Golf compared to 20 before. So I'm now almost half and half, which he convinced me a lot of stuff.
And that's fair. And I think that's exactly what the goal of his podcast is to do, is to just, I don't want to say raise awareness because Live Golf's not a charity or anything, but just bring awareness to this league and to this version of golf. And
right.
It is funny how he nailed it on the head. And I can't speak for every golf fan, but it does seem like the ones who have stayed loyal to PGA have just nothing but hate in their hearts for Live Golf, and the other, the Live Golf fans and players are just like, man, just do you. Just leave us alone. We've made a decision. We have to live with it. Now, again, down the line, if yeah, exactly. Down the line, if they do end up coming together and working together, or hell, even merging, I mean, do you ever think there's a spot where the PGA gets swallowed up by Live Golf? Like they merge that way?
Here's what I like. And here's why I'm hoping. I think it'd be cool for that to happen because, Aaron, it's almost like the hate is geared from the PGA itself by banning the players. Like, it's almost like
that plus the media.
Right. So Liv took them, right? But really, was it a taking, or was it, can we use these guys? And then PGA said, oh, no, we don't want them at all.
Well, in The Godfather, they made them an offer they couldn't refuse.
No, but here's the thing. But their goal was never to do that. Like, LIV's whole goal was just to make a better golf game, it seems like. PGA is like cutting these guys off and creating the controversy. If they had just left it alone and let these guys do other things, this may not be a controversy at all.
It might not be. I mean, eventually the Saudi-backed, moral compasses of everybody eventually just goes away. But yeah, I mean, I think you could have a point there. And I think a lot of the hatred stems more from the PGA and the media outlets that obviously are sponsored or are in the PGA's back pocket. Most of the players are like, hey man, those guys, they had to do what they had to do. And then the fans, some of them are just like, like Tony. Tony seems to have a level head about this. And of course we'll talk to him about it. But I actually, one thing that Diggsy said right in the beginning was just like, what they're doing is a completely different aspect. And it's not an instant gratification thing. It is a long game. In 3-4 years, because of the money that they are able to be backed by, like this is not a thing that like week one comes out and it's a failed product. Not at all. Like it could be a 2, 3, 4 year. I don't want to use the word experiment, but process. Yeah, trust the process, I guess. Well, to use your basketball terms here. But again, shout out to excuse me. Shout out to Digsies again for coming aboard the show and giving us a little bit of a dose of the 54 Live podcast and Live Golf in a nutshell, and really broke it down for us better than anything we've read, anything I've read. He broke it down for us, and
it's
we're
the Jersey accent.
We're hoping to have him back on the show after the Boston event here after Labor Day. So stick and stay for that. Stay tuned. If you're a 54 Live podcast fan or an AM Drive podcast fan. And by the way, if you're watching and listening to this show, make sure you check out the 54 Live podcast when they drop and follow them on Twitter. It's right there below Mike, 54 Live POD. All right.
We'll say, before you get to baseball, he really earned a quite a few more appearances on our show. I'll admit, some guests I wonder, this guy literally came on the show and sold me, and he was very positive, and you can't help but love the guy, love him, and love what he's supporting, and love what he's trying to do there. It's really incredible. So
I mean, it's 100%. He's at the foundation of a brand. So the hype has to be self-generated. So you're right, and he doesn't shy away from that, and he knows he's going to take some heat. And he may have thought he was coming on our show to take some heat as well. And I like I said, we don't have any ill will towards the Live Golf at this juncture. So let's talk about Vice Golf here real quick. Speaking of golf, my Alexa just came on.
Hi, Alexa.
Yeah, Vice Golf. It's very simple. Premium golf balls shipped right to your door. You can order them online. You have to go to mikeandaarondrive.com and click the Vice Golf logo. It looks exactly like that right above my head. And when you click that, it takes you right in there. They've got everything: golf balls, bags, towels, tees. They have some pretty cool swag as well. If you go there, make sure you first go to mikeandaarondrive.com and click that Vice Golf logo, and everything you order helps out the channel tremendously. And for that, Mike, we thank them.
Love it. I won a few tournaments last year. Classic times. Go ahead and get your top 5 baseball teams, Aaron.
All right. So my top 5 baseball teams, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, I don't have the list in front of me, but I don't think they've changed from last year. So I'll run down them from last week, last week. So number 1 for me is the Dodgers. Number 2, the Yankees. Number 3, the Astros. Number 4, the Mets. And number 5, the Twins. I believe that's still the same from last week. Those Twins, man, they're just silently. I know that the AL Central is not a great division, and I know they're only winning by 1 game. The Guardians somewhere have come out of nowhere to be competitive. But again, the Twinkies are still, the number 5 team in my slot here.
I have an honorable mention. It's the Blue Jays, because their run differential is a ho-hum plus 62, which is good enough for 6th in the league. And 8-2 in their last 10 is pretty good too. But my top 5, Dodgers are back to number 1 for the 6th time this year in 16 weeks, and the first time since week 7. I must be hungry. The Yankees at number 2. I don't know if you heard of that. Yankees have dropped after 8 weeks at number 1 and 7 straight. They're now at number 2, but no big deal. Number 3, the Mets, who have jumped the Astros, who are number 4 team. And number 5 is the Braves, who re-signed Riley to a 10-year deal worth $200+ million.
Yeah, I would say the Braves are probably my honorable mention as well. I mean, they do have 62 wins. Most years, especially with the way the Mets struggle, that would be good enough for first place. But unfortunately, it's not currently. Yeah, the Braves are a solid club, and if they can add another big piece here, maybe. I mean, they're not getting Juan Soto. Washington would be stupid to trade him in the division, but you never know. Shohei Ohtani, if they can add a big haul for him, you never know. I don't think he's going, but shout out to the Braves as well. Probably going to make my top 5 next week for sure.
Hey, this is a great list. You decide to. No, I don't even know a bunch of lists. This is a great topic for us that you have coined, and I want to let you introduce it.
Well, yeah, college football is less than a month away. Football itself is just going to be here before we know it, and obviously that's jam-packed shows each and every day, of course. But I wanted to talk about this because there's so many guys to choose from, and with top 5 Tuesdays versus drafts, like we might have the same list, but I'm curious. I know one guy on my list that is definitely, like, I'd make a large wager that he is not on your list, but I am curious to know, like, for you with college football, like, who are the guys that, really got you off your seats? And it's funny that he mentioned Vince Young, and that's one of the greatest games I've ever seen in my life. I think that was the 2004
Rose Bowl,
or 5 Rose Bowl game or whatever it was. But
5, yeah.
Vince Young didn't even make my list. So this is going to be an awesome topic here. And yes, it's the top 5 most electrifying college football players ever. And I'm going to let you start.
Okay. I put a little twist in my list.
Ooh.
Okay, so I have 4 honorable mentions, and they're because they would have made my list had I seen them play. Okay, so I couldn't put these guys on there because I wasn't fair to the other guys on my list or to them. I'm Marcus Allen, who rushed for 220 yards a game in 1981, the USC running back.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Sanders, Oklahoma State running back, had 37 rush touchdowns in just 1988 alone. Archie Griffin, Ohio State running back, only 2-time Heisman winner.
Correct.
And Herschel Walker, the Georgia running back, sad Republican, no, not Republican, sad political person. If I see one more goddamn commercial, I'm going to, whatever. But he was a unanimous first-team All-American 3 straight seasons. So
yeah, I mean, those are tough, and none of those guys really made my list because, like you said, I didn't watch them. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to say on my list that these guys are electrifying when you don't watch them. So, I mean, that's a fair assessment, and I think based on our loyal viewers who watch this, they're going to know that a lot of this stuff is more our lifetime. If you have a list, I'd love obviously interact with us on social media. You are 15, yeah.
All right. Are you ready for my
interact with us on? Yeah, interact with us on social media is what I'm basically saying. I like to hear other people's lists as well. So yeah, 5-1, rock and roll. Let's go.
Number 5. This one might shock you. Devontae Smith of Alabama wide receiver. It shocks me because, well, not really me, but like obviously it's electrifying to me. But this guy, since I first saw him, I believe he's the one who caught the pass from Tua when Tua first broke on the scene in the second half against Kirby Smart's Georgia Bulldogs. I'm pretty sure Devontae Smith caught that overtime pass for the touchdown or the regulation pass that went to the left side of the field to the end zone. And then he just compiled a great 3 or 4 year college career. Should have been drafted higher, was not drafted higher. Just an incredible lanky dude who basically was the Cooper Kupp I can remember in college football. Like, you knew the ball was going to him, you still couldn't stop it. Incredible job for Devontae Smith. But number 4 through 1 are just incredible. Number 4, the white guy, the running back himself, the man who created the race controversy of white running backs once again, Christian McCaffrey. He made Stanford football some of the most boring crap you can ever watch in your life, okay? That is boring football in 2022. Chris McCaffrey said, bump all that, pal. Bump that. Before there was Saquon Barkley punt returning, there was Christian McCaffrey, the white kid extraordinaire who is only known for injuries now, but he was a beast on that punt return. Incredible running back. Really had a great first few years in the NFL before the injuries caught up to him. But Christian McCaffrey, who's in a football family, might be the best McCaffrey out there. That's might be controversial. Number 3, it's going to get toasty now. Lamar Jackson. 50 rush touchdowns, 69 passing touchdowns. You know he's a running back? Oh, was that wrong? He's a quarterback rushing 50 touchdowns in college football. I've always said, since I watched him the first time he won the Heisman, he was better the second year, but literally like more than half his team went to pros or went to retire. Okay? This dude, and
graduation.
Huh?
We'll call it graduation. We don't call it retire.
Whatever. Same thing. We'll call it retire. No, graduation. But you get it. 18 people left, and he still balled out. but was not in the Heisman consideration, obviously. Number 2, my first ever hot take. Tim Tebow is not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. You can call it Christianity all you want to, but at Florida, he was electrifying. The dual threats of dual threats. He was Cam Newton before Cam Newton came about. Tim Tebow, I believe he won 2 national titles with Florida, right? Yeah, well, muted.
Correct.
Thank you. But Tim Tebow, he literally, as always I can remember, would steal the hearts of my Georgia Bulldog fandom, and I would have to root against this guy. But I told people when I was like 12 years old, this guy stinks as a quarterback, as a passer, but he still lit up college football. Number 1, the man who brags about doing cocaine and is satisfied with where he's at in life, despite fans thinking otherwise. Johnny Manziel. You guys understand, before Deshaun Watson almost beat Alabama twice, because he beat him once and he almost beat him again, before Jameis Winston, before Baker Mayfield was that electric, Baker Mayfield was compared to Johnny Manziel. When Texas A&M had just broke into the SEC, Johnny Manziel beat Bama. The next year, he was leading for much of the game, and they fell short. He is the reason why Mike Evans, I'm not saying Mike Evans wouldn't have been drafted, but maybe was drafted higher because Manziel got him the ball. Now, see, Mike Evans has been incredible for the Buccaneers, and Johnny fell off the face of the earth because he's a drug addict, and that's okay. He's cool with that. I'm not, but you get it. That's my guy. I will always believe he would have been a good quarterback in the NFL, and I miss him. I love you and hate you at the same time, Johnny, but that's my list. Johnny, Tebow, Lamar, McCaffrey, Devontae Smith.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I like I said, I love the opinionated aspect of this, and I mean, I think, and again, this will show our age because I think you're leaving off some. I think you're leaving off some college football giants. And when you told me you had 4 honorable mentions, I had 1. But actually, while you were, giving me that idea, I ended up with 3.
Wow.
First honorable mention, Lamar Jackson. You're right. What he did at Louisville, both of those years, probably warranted 2 Heisman trophies. And I'm really sad. I don't know if it's preservation of Archie Griffin or what, but the year Tebow won the Heisman, he probably should have won it his senior year as well. Lamar Jackson's another one that could have had it. I thought Jameis Winston should have won the Heisman, even though Johnny Football won it that year. And it's not. Guy. Yeah, I am a big Florida State guy, and Jameis Winston didn't make my list, although he was an electrifying player on and off the field.
Yeah.
Number 2 honorable mention for me is Tavon Austin at West Virginia, one of the most incredible players. And actually, I feel like his game was spawned by a guy that's actually on my list. And number 1 honorable mention for me, again, I don't even know if you know this guy, is Tommy Frazier. In the 90s, played quarterback at Nebraska for Tom Osborne, one of the most dominating stretch of runs I've ever seen. They beat up on Florida in one of the national title games. So Tommy Frazier made an honorable mention for me. Actually, was at number 5 until I thought about this guy, who is my number 5, and that's Devin Hester from the U.
Okay.
Devin Hester, covering people, receiving, punt returns, kick returns. The guy did it all. And it was already in college where you're like, you don't kick to this guy. And at Florida State, I watched him a lot when he was at Miami. So, yeah, Devin Hester makes my number 5 spot here as one of the most electrifying college football players of all time. And I say all time, it's pretty much my lifespan because, like you said, we didn't see a lot of these guys back in the day, the Marcus Allens, the Bo Jacksons, the Herschel Walkers, these guys, the Archie Griffins. And it's not a disrespect to them. It's just, it's hard to put them in a list when you never watched them actually play live. Number 4 for me is your number 1. It's Johnny Football. Like, I loved everything about Johnny Football. He really kind of was the foundation to open the door to this NIL world that we live in now. you could almost say he was a trailblazer in that, for better or for worse. We'll find out. But Johnny Football was just the epitome of everything electrifying on the field and off the field.
Yes.
Number 3 for me is a guy, like I said, I don't think you've ever even heard of this guy, but he is a Florida State boy, and that's Peter Warwick, the former wide receiver / punt returner, the Tavon Austin before Tavon Austin existed. One of the most electrifying plays he ever did was actually a punt return for a 9-yard loss. If you can ever see this play, I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere.
I'm sure
his most electrifying play I've ever seen was a 9-yard loss on a punt return.
Wow.
But the way he just made the entire team look foolish. But Peter Warwick never really panned out in the NFL, which was unfortunate. He played for the Bengals for a little bit, but that was back in the bungle days. It's number 2 here for me, and I'm surprised he didn't make your list. And maybe, like I said, you were super young in this one. It's Michael Vick.
Okay, I was
Michael Vick at Virginia Tech is absolutely 100% one of the most electrifying quarterbacks. He's Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson. If you ever have a chance to watch Michael Vick highlights at Virginia Tech, I watched him up close and personal when Florida State beat them in the national title game in 1999. But still, despite the fact that Florida State dominated that game, Michael Vick looked absolutely incredible, and you knew he was destined for stardom when he was the, I believe, number 1 pick in 2000. 2000 or 2001. But yeah, Michael Vick made my list at number 2 here. And of course, number 1, it's a no-brainer. It's Reggie Bush. I mean, every time that guy touched the ball, he's Saquon Barkley before Saquon Barkley was Saquon Barkley. He's Christian McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey existed. Reggie Bush is the most electrifying athlete of all time. That USC team with him, Matt Leinart, Lendale White, and others was just one of the greatest teams to watch. It's sad to see what ultimately ended up happening, stripping him of his Heisman and all that stuff. It was. It absolutely was. But Reggie Bush tops the list at number 1. I was surprised he didn't make your list, but I remember, I think you were 8 when that game happened. But just for 2 or 3 years, Reggie Bush was just one of the most electrifying players I had ever seen in any sport.
It almost reminds me, he might be a bigger namesake than Tim Tebow was, because
100%.
Reminder, ESPN slurps a lot, like Jeremy Lin's of the world for a week. They had Jeremy Lin, the Linsanity.
Right.
But let me tell you something. ESPN, long after Reggie Bush retired from the Saints, they would not shut up about his Heisman long before Johnny Manziel was even a thing. Like, they still to this day will not shut up about Reggie Bush. Like, it's one of those guys like a Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and a Tim Tebow. They'll never shut up about him. And it's really incredible, like, how good they were, how polarizing they were. I can only imagine what it was like being in high school with the debates about Reggie Bush and how that whole thing.
I mean, you nailed it on the head. The key word is polarizing. Now, Reggie Bush wasn't necessarily polarizing, but the Tebows and the Jordan LeBron debates, those are polarizing because you could probably split it somewhere close to 50-50 on people on both sides. Like, for me, Tim Tebow didn't make the list. He didn't make honorable mention. Like, he was a good player, but I don't think he was electrifying. He was a rumbling, bumbling, stumbling quarterback.
That was nostalgia for me for just one my hot take up there. But
100%. He was absolutely incredible. And as a Florida State fan, it was great to see him leave Gainesville, 100%. And when he got to the league, 100% I was rooting for him. I mean, it didn't pan out for him, c'est la vie, no big deal. But, for me, he wasn't an electrifying college football. He was a polarizing college football player. But to me, he wasn't electrifying.
Sure.
So, all right, that's going to do it for us here. What an awesome topic. What an awesome show. Once again, special thanks to Digsies of the 54 Live podcast. If you haven't yet, check out his show, once again, at 54 Live POD. And, of course, you want to support us each and every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can follow us on AM Drive TV on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And, of course, support the sponsors and find all of those links at mikeandaarondrive.com. So, for Michael Carvelis, I am Aaron Crouch. We'll have Tony Johnson on tomorrow on Hump Day to talk about some golf. But until then, we will enjoy this time off. I will not be here tomorrow or the rest of the week. So Mike's going to hold it down with Tony Johnson and with Sammy Action, who's back. So for Michael Carvelis, I'm Aaron Crouch saying I will see you guys next week. It's been fun. It's been real. And we will enjoy our day. And hopefully you will too. We'll see you.